Hi there, Zam here for NerdTube. These are my thoughts and spoilers of The Many Saints of Newark, a Sopranos prequel. Now, this film is currently on Netflix, but if you live in the UK like I do, you probably need a VPN to watch it. So, what did I think of this movie? Well, as a gangster film, it's not bad. It feels like a typical Netflix movie to a degree. As a Sopranos prequel, I'm a little bit disappointed. Now, some of the newer characters, people we weren't familiar with, were excellent. Alessandro Nivola as Dicky Moltisanti is fucking brilliant in this movie. He plays a man who tries to be a stand-up guy, but really happens to be a despicable asshole who does terrible things. Ray Liotta, who plays Dick Moltisanti, Dicky's father, as well as Sal Moltisanti, Dicky's uncle, because he plays twins in this movie, is brilliant. And considering he's playing two different characters, you have to really appreciate his acting in this film. As his father, he's a despicable human being. As his uncle, who's in jail, who's had a long time to reflect on his life, you can see he's a reformed human being, a better human being. And you can really appreciate Ray Liotta's acting in this. And it's good to see Ray Liotta in another gangster film after Goodfellas, and playing as Dick Moltisanti. He's such a different character, like he was as Henry Hill, and I really appreciated what he brought to the table. We also have some familiar characters as well. Michael Gandolfini does play Tony Soprano, and unfortunately in this movie, one of the problems I had with this film was that we didn't get to see much of Tony Soprano in this film. It really wasn't an origin story. It was more of a biopic of Dicky Moltisanti than it was about the early years of Tony Soprano. Yes, we did see him in this film, but the first half of the movie, we don't even get Michael Gandolfini. We get a child actor playing Tony Soprano as a kid, and then the second half of the movie, when Tony Soprano, a few years later gone by, and Tony Soprano is now a young man, Michael Gandolfini comes into play. But even then, his role is quite minimal. And then when it comes to the more familiar characters from the Sopranos series, like Silvio Dante, let me just pull up the actor's name, played by Joe Magro. I didn't like his performance at all. It almost felt like a parody. It didn't feel, an impersonation. It really didn't feel like a young Silvio Dante. Paulie Walnuts, played by Billy Magnuson. Like the makeup he had on, he looked like a fucking extra from bloody Dick Tracy. Big Pussy wasn't that, he didn't leave a fucking mark on me either, but probably the best of the three. But even then, that's not saying much. And regarding those three, especially Walnuts and Dante, we got fuck all from them. I mean, like, they were hardly in this, and that's very disappointing. Same goes for characters like Uncle Junior, who had a bigger role to play in this movie, but even then, it still felt quite minimal. And we're talking like mainstay, established characters in The Sopranos here, and we don't get any of them really. And this is kind of surprising considering some of the episodes of The Soprano was directed by the same director who made this movie, and let me pull up his name, David Chase, who wrote The Sopranos, wrote this movie as well. So you would expect maybe just to get a lot more tie-ins, but they were glorified extras. These main characters in fucking Sopranos were glorified extras in a Sopranos prequel. How ridiculous is that? Now, we do get to follow the life of Dicky Moltisanti and some of the stuff he did right up to the moment he gets whacked. Obviously, he does get whacked because it's obvious. It's a fucking gangster film. Why don't we see him in The Sopranos? Well, because he got whacked earlier on. And how he ends up getting whacked and who whacked him, it kind of left as a mystery. But I think, in my opinion, I think it might have been Uncle Junior who done it, because Uncle Junior gets disrespected like that. We saw that in The Sopranos, how he gets easily upset, and when that happens, he wants somebody killed. Some of the other characters in this film do stand out. Leslie Odom Jr. plays Harold McBrayer, a black guy who works for The Sopranos, for Dicky Moltisanti, so to speak. And he's a runner. He basically chases down some hoodlums and stuff like that. Tries to get some cash out of them. But being a black guy in the 60s and early 70s, he's never going to get much respect, and he kind of realizes that. And we see moments in this film, like for instance the Newark race riots that comes into play in this movie, and things like that kind of changes his ideology. And instead of being somebody who is doing the runs and errands of white people, he wants to be his own man, his own gangster, so to speak, a bit like Denzel Washington in American Gangster. And we get some love triangle moments as well. Don't want to go into that too much because I thought some of that was pretty stupid. Overall, if you're a Sopranos fan, I would recommend this, but I'm not sure you're going to be satisfied. I do feel more can come out of this movie, or maybe they will make a sequel to this movie, because just when I felt, oh, we're going to finally follow Tony now, it ends. And so maybe a sequel is on the cards. Maybe a television series set in the 70s and 80s is on the cards, of Tony, being, soldier to captain to mob boss. But I'm not so sure if I really want that now after watching this. It's a little bit disappointing. Like I said before, I was really pumped for this. I loved the Sopranos television show. It was fantastic. It was the beginning of the golden age of television. And to get this movie as a homage to that show, it just wasn't good enough. And it's funny in a way. I don't want to do the film too much of a disservice. Like I said, as a solo gangster film, it's not too bad. It's got some shocking moments, some surprising moments. Like seeing these people as everyday people at times, with their families and their friends interacting and stuff. And then when they have to go gangster, you think, shit, man, these guys are despicable. They're terrible human beings that are capable of doing anything and everything. And that reminder comes at you at different periods of this movie. And that's pretty cool. I mean, it's a gangster film overall, but God, that's a Sopranos prequel. I was expecting so much more. I hate getting misled by marketing. Like, if you're going to make something come out as a Sopranos prequel, as a Tony Soprano's origin story, then give us a fucking Tony Soprano's origin story, not Dickie Moltisanti. Even though I did enjoy his biopic, I did enjoy his story, it just wasn't what was sold to me. And I hate shit like that. I really do. So basically, that's how I feel about it. I'm neither here or there. I'll give this, a 6 out of 10. And I'll go just above average because I like gangster films when they're done well. And this was done well, but this is not what I expected. And that's why, that's why I'm giving it this rating. I did know Dickie Moltisanti would play a significant role in this movie. I just expected Tony Soprano to play a significant role in this movie too, and he didn't. He was hardly in the fucking movie. And so was the fucking, other characters who are so recognized in the Sopranos. They were hardly in this fucking movie. So, that's why my marking is so low. Anyway, let me know what you think. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube. We are the greatest YouTube channel you never fucking heard of. I'll see you cunts later. Take care. Bye-bye.